Today on Studio G, Austin Ennie takes us inside yet another UNLV presidential debate.
And later, Carl Winder will sit down with UNLV basketball trainer David Tomchuk.
We have your news from around the globe and from here on campus. All this and more coming up on Studio G. Good afternoon and welcome to this Tuesday's edition of Studio G. I'm Bree Bradley.
And I'm Jamie Seymour. We start today with Studio G reporter Alexis Mers at the scene of a car crash near the intersection of Sahara Avenue and Arville yesterday afternoon.
Heard like a really big noise.
Chaos ensued near the intersection of Arville and Sahara when a vehicle crossed the median, hitting two vehicles right before slamming into the Agonite.
And I parked my car just to see what happened because, you know, my car was crashed as well. And I looked I walked towards the restaurant and the car was in there.
10 people were severely injured and rushed to the University Medical Center and Sunrise Hospital emergency rooms.
When we arrived on scene, we found 4 people underneath the car, 3 adults and 1 child. We eventually brought what would be equivalent to a 2-alarm fire worth of equipment and personnel out to the scene.
One witness was enjoying lunch with his wife when he heard the crash.
Well, me and my wife was eating at TGI Fridays across the street when we heard the loud noise or the crash, and then we immediately ran across the street, and it was just chaos everywhere. It was just blood and, you know, just a whole bunch of stuff everywhere. What I tried to do was trying to help the little boy. He was sitting there with blood all over him.
The majority of the people injured were outside eating lunch on the patio. One employee was injured during the accident. The general manager is very concerned about the health of the guests as well as her fellow employee.
It was definitely a really hard part for us was to see one of our fellow employees covered in blood.
Witnesses say things got more complicated when the driver tried to flee the scene, and police believe he may have been under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
And then he started running, and then the old man was trying to grab him, and the old man fell. So then the old man says, he's the driver. He was the driver. That's when 9 men came. They grabbed him. We was all chasing him, but there was more men in front of me, so they grabbed him first. And that's when they took him down right here, and then that was basically it.
He is facing 10 counts of felony hit and run and 10 counts of reckless driving. As a result, the victims of this accident are facing life-threatening injuries.
We're hoping that everybody survives on this, obviously. We're going to make sure that the guy that was driving the vehicle gets punished for what he did.
For Studio G, I am Alexis Mers.
Studio G will bring you more when any new information becomes available.
As the valley heats up, officials with the Clark County Department of Air Quality are issuing an ozone advisory. The changing weather could lead to a buildup of ozone gas at ground level. Officials say the naturally occurring gas that protects the Earth's surface from the sun's ultraviolet ray is a key ingredient in urban smog. Officials say unhealthy levels of ozone can cause respiratory illness to worsen and can impair breathing. Officials suggest residents restrict outdoor activities. Also, fill your gas tanks after sunset. Use mass transit or carpool or walk or ride your bike. More information to help prevent the buildup of ozone gas can be found at redrock.clarkcounty.gov/forecast.
After a long campaign for all candidates involved, the finish line is finally in sight. Yesterday in the Greenspun Auditorium, all the candidates took part in a final debate, trying to state their case as to why they should be elected to their respective roles. The debate featured the Rebels United ticket, consisting of Jasmine Hicks, Jordan Jackson, and the incumbent student body president, Mark Ciavola, in a war of words with the Rebel Alliance lineup of Gil Revellario, Dustin Durbin, and presidential hopeful Cole Turner. Both presidential candidates ended their final debates, taking some shots at one another.
To be the e-board that is going to miss meetings and miss an opportunity to represent our students, as Mark has in the past. He has missed NSA meetings. He has complained about the priorities that have been put on for student body president or for the NSA's he's complained about the order of the NSA's priorities.
Mr. Turner, nor his vice presidential running mate had been to any meetings last year. His vice presidential running mate still hasn't been to meetings. None of them have ever been to a Board of Regents meeting. Yet here we are today, and we're trying to determine who's most qualified for the position.
Voting in person on campus starts tomorrow and Thursday from 9 to 5. Students can also vote online on MyUNLV starting at 9 a.m. Wednesday. That voting ends at 7 p.m. Thursday night. Polls are open this morning for voters to cast ballots for mayors, city council members, and judges. Henderson and North Las Vegas will select new mayors. 3 city council seats are up for grabs in Las Vegas and could be determined on today. Those living in wards 2, 4, and 6 in Las Vegas can vote for city council candidates to represent their areas. If one candidate receives more than 50% of the vote, he or she will be elected. A general election would determine a winner if no candidate receives a majority vote on Tuesday. The general election is set for June 4th.
Nevada's unemployment rate dropped in February to 9.6%, the lowest it has been in December. The jobless rate was also down over 2% from February 2012. The Nevada Department of Unemployment Training and Rehabilitation reports nearly 132,000 people are out of work, 600 fewer than in January. Drop in unemployment, Nevada lost about 5,500 jobs in February. Gas prices are steadily dropping throughout Las Vegas this week. KVVU reports that although the valley is still slightly above the national average of $3.61, Las Vegas has seen prices drop to $3.72. Prices have been on the decline for about a month after increasing during the first 2 months of the year. Finally, tax caps for the mining industry are one step closer to being taken out of the state constitution with the approval of the Senate Joint Resolution. According to the Associated Press, the Nevada Senate voted 17-4 to take a 5% tax cap on mining industry taxes out of the Constitution. The resolution now goes to the Assembly. Nevada voters will decide in 2014 if the Assembly adopts the resolution during the session. Bill supporters say the legislature would have flexibility to set the taxes the mining industry will pay the state. Opponents say the bill would discourage statewide mining activities.
The Clark County School District is reaching out to parents for feedback. According to KTNV, the district set up a survey Monday to be taken online or at Ruby Thomas Elementary. The district wants to hear from parents about their concerns about child safety and faculty. While the survey can be done at home, the principal of Thomas Elementary is opening up all the computers at the school for people without internet access. District officials hope the survey will increase parent involvement throughout Valley schools. Here are some of the major headlines from across the country. Texas law enforcement officials are on heightened alert after a string of recent murders. Kaufman County, located in the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, has been shaken up due to recent murders of officials. District Attorney Mike McLellan and his wife Cynthia were shot to death in their home just 2 months after Assistant District Attorney Mike Cass was gunned down outside of the Kaufman County Courthouse. It is unclear whether the deaths are linked, but authorities believe that the deaths may be caused by a white supremacist group that was targeted by the prosecutors in 2012. Detroit Metro Airport received a bit of a scare that resulted in an evacuation. The North Terminal at Detroit Metropolitan Airport was evacuated for hours on Monday due to concerns of a suspicious device found during a TSA screening. The screeners noticed a suspicious device in a passenger's carry-on bag, resulting in the explosive teams searching into it and terminal passengers being moved away. The device was removed and the airport went back to business as usual. After further investigation, an FBI official said no explosives were found in the bag. One Oregon hiker is thankful to be alive after being rescued from Mount Hood. Mary Owen, a hiker from Newburgh, was discovered by an Oregon National Guard crew after she went missing. She was found by Portland Mountain Rescue off of Sandy Glacier. Owen only had an injured leg and frostbite, but feels lucky to be alive. Finally, even the White House had a little fun with April Fool's Day. On Monday, officials played a little April Fool's joke on the media with a special message from President Obama. However, it was not Mr. President that walked up to the podium. It was 9-year-old Robbie Novak, none other than the kid president.
It looks like you were expecting somebody else. But April Fool's on all y'all. I'm the kid president, and I hope everyone has an awesome day.
That's all for your national news. Stay tuned next week to see what's going on across the nation. When we get back from the break, Heather Feyerberger will update us with the weather.
But before that, Alex Bull will give us the news from around the world. Don't touch that keyboard. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Art Department at UNLV, where students can express their creative side. You can also check out the current exhibits at the Grant Hall Gallery, Jesse Metcalf Gallery, and Donna Beam Gallery of Fine Art, featuring recent artwork displays by students, staff, and local artists. Whether your forte is taking photos, painting a picture, or carving a sculpture, make sure to check out the UNLV Art Department located in the Alta Ham Fine Arts Building.
Welcome back to Studio G. Right now, we're going to send it over to international reporter Alex Bull for the news around the world. Alex?
Thanks, Bree. And an Egyptian TV host has been compared to Comedy Central's Jon Stewart, was released on bail Sunday. Bassem Youssef is accused of insulting Islam and Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi. In recent days, some lawyers filed complaints on behalf of Egyptians making those allegations. Egypt's public prosecutor summoned the satirist for questioning earlier Sunday as part of an investigation. He was let go on a $2,200 bail. Youssef hosts a similar show to US program The Daily Show. It's popular in Egypt, especially among liberals and young viewers. However, it is a crime to insult any religion in Egypt. 9 more bodies were retrieved on Sunday at the site of a mining area landslide in southwest China's Tibet region. That brings the number of recovered bodies to 11 after the landslide occurred 2 days ago in a county about 68 kilometers from regional capital, Lhasa. Another 72 miners remain missing. The disaster struck a workers' camp at the German Kappa polymetallic mine at about 6 a.m. on Friday, burying 83 workers and 11 machineries. India's highest court has denied a Swiss company a patent for a cancer drug. It upheld a 2006 ruling that Gleevec did not satisfy the requirements of being new or invented. The decision is crucial for the India's drug makers who sell copies of the drug at much lower prices. It means hundreds of millions of people who can't afford drugs made by multi-international companies like Novartis can continue the generic versions made in countries like India. Many activists say this is a huge relief for not only cancer patients, but also for people with HIV and other diseases. Well, a robbery attempt goes painfully wrong at a market in Perth, Australia. This is surveillance video of the Sunday's incident. Watch the circle as the thief comes running out of the store, carrying the purse, and then wham! He forgets there's a sliding door and crashes face first through the pane glass window. That had to hurt. He falls out to the ground, but his accomplice comes back, helps him out, but they both make a getaway. In what else? The stolen vehicle. Well, people will just never learn. Well, that's all the international news I have for you today. Now we're going to send it back to Heather with the weather.
Thank you, Alex. Right now we're looking at 73 degrees outside. Winds are coming from the about northeast at 15 miles an hour. Perfect opportunity to hold your dress down a little bit there. 74 is actually our average, so we're sitting right around there right now. Looking at the current weather in southern Nevada, we've got 50 degrees over at Lake Tahoe. We're looking at 58 in Tonopah and 72 at the Air Force Base. Nationwide, we've got 54 in Rapid City. We're looking at 40 and a bit cloudy in Detroit, 42 in New York, and 64 over here in Los Angeles. Little bit of rain coming in our south. Looks pretty dry over the rest of the country. Little bit of snow in Colorado and New Mexico. And looking at our 7-day, we are in the 80s And we did mention earlier that there is an ozone advisory in effect. This is caused by the temps heating up, but right now no unhealthy levels have been reported. That's all the weather I have for you, so we'll send it back over to the desk.
Thank you, Heather. The Kappa Sigma fraternity on campus started their annual boot camp philanthropy event yesterday to raise money for their charity of choice.
Sigma holds their boot camp philanthropy every year, but this time they're changing things up.
We usually do like a serious obstacle course with like a boot camp workout place in Las Vegas, but it didn't work out this time, so we have a bounce house.
So instead of climbing up hand-blistering rope and crawling through thick mud, participants will be bouncing their way to charity.
We donate all the money raised to the Intrepid Fallen Hero Fund. So what it does is it builds houses next to military hospitals for the families of wounded soldiers to be there with them in time of need.
All 6 sororities on campus are participating in the fraternity's events in hopes of winning and raising money. But even the brothers of Kappa Sigma are looking forward to the obstacle course.
I am excited for that thing right there, the blow-up obstacle course, because oh my gosh, you can feel like you're 5 years old again while raising money to help the wounded warriors.
The K-Sig boot camp will continue today at Northfield and include hair and blood donations, a skit, and soccer in between.
I want this event to be more fun. Like I do want to raise more money. But I'm not really not solely concerned about money as much as just having everyone come out and having a good time.
For Studio G at UNLV, I'm Taylor Albers.
On Thursday, our very own Jamie Sumar will have the results of the boot camp event. Let's send it over to Austin with this week's sports.
That's right. Thank you, Bree. Time now for your Tuesday edition of Studio G Sports. We start today with news from men's basketball player Anthony Bennett, who after playing just 1 year here at UNLV announced yesterday that he will be entering this summer's NBA draft.
As of today, I'm here to announce that I'm declaring for the 2013 NBA draft. I feel like it's a great opportunity for me. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm ready to learn and work hard, and also support the family.
And while Bennett says he is looking forward to the next chapter, he thanked the UNLV faithful for all their support and especially his coaching staff and teammates.
I feel like they made me a better man, a better player on the court. I learned a lot from these guys, and I just want to say thank you. But as I won't be wearing a UNLV jersey anymore, I'll always be a running rebel for life.
After the announcement, Coach Rice talked about what makes Bennett so successful and to ensure that Anthony knows the program is 100% behind him and his decision.
Well, it's always difficult, whether it's a senior or whether it's an underclassman that declares early for the NBA draft. And we're excited about the progress that we've made. And I've said all year long that Anthony's talent speaks for itself, the impact that he had as good a freshman season as anyone in UNLV history. He's making the right decision for him, but also for our program. And the thing that will always stick with me is what an unbelievable teammate he was.
In many 2013 NBA mock drafts, Bennett is projected to go 5th overall to the Detroit Pistons. Sticking on the hardwood, we've all seen the gruesome leg injury Louisville's Kevin Ware suffered in the NCAA tournament this past weekend. But finally, there's some good news. Ware underwent successful surgery on his broken leg and is expected to make a full recovery. Meanwhile, his mother Lisa Jr. was devastated until she was able to see her son, but says he wants to put the injury in the past and now help support the team.
He's not so much focusing on what happened, but he's focusing on the recovery of it all. He still wants to be there to support his team, and he's in great spirits.
With his spirits high and a successful recovery process, doctors hope Ware can make a full recovery within 6 months. Moving from the hardwood to the freshly cut fields. Baseball threw its first pitch on opening day yesterday. Some highlights from around the league included Las Vegas native and Washington National phenom Bryce Harper, who belted 2 home runs in his first 2 plate appearances for the Nats as they went on to beat the Miami Marlins 2-0. Another standout performer on the day was Los Angeles Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw dominated the defending world champion San Francisco Giants, throwing a complete game 4-hit shutout. He also hit the eventual game-winning home run. Kershaw's the first pitcher to hit a home run and pitch a shutout on opening day since the Hall of Famer Bob Lemon of the 1953 Indians. Finally, in sports news, the NFL saw a quarterback shuffle yesterday. The Seattle Seahawks traded backup quarterback Matt Flynn to the Oakland Raiders for a 5th-round pick in the 2014 NFL Draft and a conditional pick in the 2015 NFL Draft. Flynn's arrival to Oakland made Carson Palmer expendable, and just about 2 hours ago, Palmer was traded to the Arizona Cardinals for a 7th-round pick in the 2014 NFL Draft. The other trade involved Cleveland Browns sending backup quarterback Colt McCoy and a 6th-round pick to the San Francisco 49ers for a 5th and 7th-round pick. Now the 49ers have the backup they wanted. That'll do it for my segment of Sports Today, but stick around because after the break, Carl Winter sits down with UNLV Assistant Athletic Trainer Dave Tomczyk. Stay tuned.
I'd like to thank the members of the UNLV community that have started something.
I became a big sister to make an impact in a child's life.
I became a big brother to get involved in my community.
4 hours a month, you can make a big difference in the life of a child.
I became a big sister because I wanted to start something.
Contact Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southern Nevada and start something today.
Hello and welcome back to Studio G. I'm here with UNLV Assistant Athletic Trainer Dave Tomczyk. Dave, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and on Sunday we saw a devastating injury with Kevin Ware, and just overall the season with Nerlens Noel and Mike Moser also is just these injuries are happening. And is player safety a big concern in college basketball and the NBA, even though we don't hear about it too much?
Oh, definitely. It's always a concern, especially from my perspective. We're hired to maintain the safety of the players, bottom line to keep them alive. The injuries have always been there. They just haven't been as prevalent, and this weekend's injury, being as gruesome as it was, just made everybody aware that it's a violent sport. It is a contact sport.
Yes. And what he did was just common stuff. I mean, he was going in for a block. You have people that are rebounding and chasing after the ball, and these kind of injuries happen. It's just, how do you recover from that mentally?
Well, I don't know if I could speak for him, but for the guys that we've had and the athletes that I've taken care of in the past, the psychology of injury and the rehabilitation is very important. And the physical healing takes place, through the body, but to have your mind overcome the event of the injury, if it's quite a bit significant like Sunday, it's going to be an uphill road for him. But I think the superior athletes that are at this level that we're working at right now have that ability to, put the mind over matter, paraphrased.
And in your opinion, just how can player safety be improved in college basketball?
I don't think it can be improved at all. I think what we do as medical professionals and with the strength and conditioning staff is we prepare them for an injury. If we can put them on the floor and they can have an optimum level of strength, if they are conditioned well, if we can't stop the injuries, they're going to happen. Other sports have done different type of things with helmet improvement or pad improvement. Well, we don't have helmets or pads. So we do bunches of different things, such as we tape the ankles and put some protective padding on them when they need it. But for the most part, they're just out there with their shorts and their shirts on.
Yes. And just overall, there's 30-plus games in a college basketball season. How do you prepare your players for that length of a schedule?
Well, actually, that preparation begins in June for us with the strength and conditioning coach. The kids will lift weights, will run, and then play basketball on their own, of course. And that's probably the biggest improvement that we can have. If we can start the season off with a high level of conditioning, with a high level of strength, then we don't break down as fast. And you can't catch your tail in November if you didn't do much in June and July.
And with the UNLV basketball program, what has been the most significant injury you have had to deal with so far?
Well, probably Mike's in the fall. You know, an elbow dislocation isn't very common. And, you know, we had, thank God, the good doctors at the University of California were there to assist us, took care of the immediate triage, and then came back to Las Vegas, and it was just, it's still ongoing. You know, we're still making sure that he's better. And it's mentally was hard on him, as you mentioned earlier. But it's all in your strength and conditioning, I believe.
And just how was that process like from right after that Cal game, from then until North Carolina when he came back?
Oh, it's every day, 6 hours, and an enjoyable man to be around, fun, driven. He knew what he wanted to do. A lot of times people take credit for success, but it's the player that heals himself. It's the player that makes the shot. And Mike's one of those kind of kids that nothing was going to stop him, bar nothing. He was ready to go.
And how did you train him up mentally, or just any of the players up mentally, just to make sure, hey, this is probably not going to try and happen again?
Oh, that was his biggest fear. Was when he went into that game. He says, "If I fall again, will it pop out?" And I said, "No. You have to." It just you can't tell him that it is, because if there's a chance that it could, obviously, but. What we did as far as his strength and rehab and the treatment, you know, I was very, very assured of myself that he was going to be all right.
Yes, and now post North Carolina, just what has he been doing lately to get himself back up to strength?
Pretty much I try to stay away from him, or I had tried to stay away from him, because I was maybe a reminder. I didn't ask him how his elbow was, but I would monitor what he was doing across the hall with Jason Cable, our strength coach.
And how do you make sure his elbow is up to par? Make sure it's fully healthy again?
Well, that's why we have doctors. We send them to make sure our team doctors take a look at him. I analyze his movements, his strength, watch his body motion, you know, and pick up on him. If he looks like he's scared, then I got to put a little red flag up and say I got to back him down a bit.
Alrighty. And how do you test that? I heard you do arm wrestling.
Oh, we arm wrestled, and you know, he still hasn't beaten me. I wish he'd come back and try again, but that's a good indicator with, not to get technical with the anatomy of the elbow, but with arm wrestling, I'm testing the medial aspect or the inside of the aspect, and when it would hurt, he would give up, and as he got stronger, he would fight a little bit more, but he still couldn't get me.
And now that the season is over, what do you do with the players to make sure they're just up to par for next season?
Well, we take care of what was nagging them throughout the course of the season. We get them back into the weight room doing a little bit more heavy workouts. They'll get into their workouts on the court here next week, and you know, just take care of business.
Right. Dave, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And let's send it back to the desk with Jamie and Bree.
Well, that's all we're going to have for today. Thank you for joining us at Studio G. I'm Jamie Seymour.
And I'm Bree Bradley. Have a wonderful day, UNLV.
The game of laser tag, to a multi-level combat scenery designed to simulate actual combat.
Battle Blast Laser Tag is a new laser tag family fun facility here in Las Vegas. We have a large two-story laser tag arena. We have a large 40 vest laser tag system, allows large groups of people to play at one time.
Rhonda Mikologic wanted to create a realistic city setting so players can feel like they're transformed into a war-torn city.
Well, each building has its own look on the inside of it. One building is a library, one building is a art museum, art gallery, pictures, you know, hanging on the walls. One is a coffee shop, you know, all kinds of furniture, chairs stacked up, that kind of thing. Adds a little bit of interest as you go around in the game, that every time you go into a building, it each has a different look to it.
Also including an arcade, party rooms, and ticket prizes, Rhonda is hoping to make Battle Blast Laser Tag a family-oriented hotspot in Las Vegas.
I mean, definitely it seems that there are people who repeat and come back quite a bit. You know, we have those people who just love it and who come once a week. So we are still trying to spread our name and get our name out there. We have new people all the time who come in, and I had no idea you guys were here. So, you know, at this point, we're being so new, we're still trying to get our name out there so that more people do know about us.
For Studio G, I'm Donald Woods.
Well, that was a day late April Fool's joke on us. We had one more story for you. That's going to do it for today's show. Join us again tomorrow at noon for another edition of Studio G. I'm Jamie Seymour.
And again, I'm Bree Bradley. Have a great day.